Hi again. Welcome to Pearl Magazine. Finding a place to call home can be challenging, especially in the crowded and hyper-expensive property market that is Hong Kong. In a city of well over 7 million, finding a quiet retirement home on a limited budget can be daunting. In the New Territories, a group of seniors thought they had found a perfect, peaceful hideaway to spend their twilight years, but urban planners had other ideas. Tonight on Pearl Magazine, Paradise Lost, the story of a group of villagers who were set for an idyllic retirement until they were told to pack their bags and move on.
Once a British barracks, this idyllic area is now a village for the elderly. Its serene setting and fresh air is considered by many a perfect location for one's twilight years.
It makes me really happy having flowers and trees at my doorstep.
The clearing out of the village started earlier this year to make room for urban development. For many years, residents fought to be properly rehoused and even took the government to court.
I've packed all her stuff. She only has these 2 boxes left.
As waves of coronavirus cases hit, many elderly homes have fallen victim to the pandemic. Despite that, these residents are still being forced to evacuate their homes.
The carers are good to me. I don't want to leave.
This elderly home will be history after today.
It's good to stretch a bit, better than being stuck in my room. This is a great place. The air is fresh, it's quiet, which calms me down.
Shuk Wai has lived in Dill's Corner Garden for 15 years. Every day she takes a walk in the garden. In 2005, she had an operation on her throat. She required long-term care afterwards and applied to live in the elderly home here.
After an unsuccessful operation, I was left without an esophagus and I can't eat. I had to use a stomach to have milk. I told my doctors I didn't want to go home because of my 4 sons. They're all very good to me, actually, but I don't want to trouble them. I want to be here. I am easily pleased. Sometimes I'd watch TV. If I don't fancy the program on air, I'd read the newspapers and magazines. My granddaughter and my sons always bring me a lot of magazines whenever they visit. They come very often. The nurses on different shifts are all very good to me. I'm just happy living here.
Although Shuk Wai is already 87, she's perfectly capable of managing her daily life. And the care home has also arranged for 2 caretakers on 2 shifts to look after the residents. Fong is the daytime caretaker for Shuk Wai and about 10 others at the care home. She looks after them 12 hours a day. She considers the residents as family, and in the 7 years she's worked at the home, she knows their habits and temperaments off by heart.
Their children entrusted their parents here, so I do my utmost to look after them so they can enjoy their twilight years. Some of them I'll need to feed them water, change their diapers and deal with their feces. I see them as family members. I've done this for years and we've become very close. You know what? We're even closer than family.
小妹姐，使唔使幫手執下嘢啊？最好啦，呢啲一陣間就執晒落架車仔度推。我係咁撈教㗎啦，呢我知你好叻嘅。叻咩啊？整咩塵啊？
The carers and the residents are very close. However, this elderly home is in the designated area of the first clearance phase under the Northeast New Territories New Development Area Planning Project. Shuk Wai and around 150 old folks who live in Dill's Corner Garden had to move out last July. A new group of carers were assigned to look after them, and they had to make new friends.
There's not much I could do. It's what the place needs. What power do I have personally? What could I do if I refuse to accept? It's not just me. Many are forced to accept this.
In the past 22 years, over 1,000 seniors have called this place home in this borrowed village. Dill's Corner Garden was once a British barracks. From 1998, the government leased the area to private elderly home operators on short-term leases, renewing every 2 years. All of the 20-odd blocks of low-density houses have become elderly homes, making this a large-scale operation. In 2012, the government announced the clearance of the buildings. The elderly home operators formed a federation and demanded they be allowed to stay.
由於呢一度咧係坐落喺市中心嘅規劃，所以不得不搬。對老人家要照顧，老人家對於變遷個擔憂，我唔會唔明嘅。
Towards the end of 2013, government officials inspected the village, and later a number of departments discussed how to resettle the residents.
香港咧冇一個即係安老嘅地方咧，好似石仔嶺呢個環境，係要確保長者嘅利益咧係唔受到損害，特別係佢哋咧喺個安排上面一個妥善嘅安排呢個做。
希望局長多牛石仔嶺，俾我。 肯咁多兄弟姊妹起事，大眾一個家園。
They even appeared before LegCo to voice their concerns.
爸爸起身坐返先，爸爸。
In 2014, the government pledged to build a new 8-story multi-welfare services complex, which will allow for the seamless transfer of residents from Dill's Corner Garden as it becomes their new home upon completion in 2023. However, to facilitate the development of the area, the government later decided that Dill's Corner Garden was to be cleared in 2 phases, with the first taking place in mid-2020.
This plot of land is now designated as commercial residential development with public transport interchange. Everyone was shocked and then furious when they learned about the land sale.
Yut Lan has always been involved in assisting the residents of their fight for proper settlement. At the beginning of the year, a resident told her the site of the first clearance phase was to be included in the government's land sale this year and developed as private housing. The residents asked her to help with applying for a judicial review in the hope the court would make an order to halt the clearance. The hearing was scheduled in June. Yut Lan and the care home operators were busy discussing how they should conduct the case with their lawyers. They've been giving the government settlement plans, hoping to have all residents relocated to the new complex altogether by 2023.
If the government was people-oriented, they would truly look at the issues here. The demolition could wait. We don't want to hinder the development of Northeast New Territories. We just hope the court could let us first resettle, then demolish. Now we've halted the first clearance phase, and we'll move into the new complex once it's completed.
Despite their disabilities, the residents who filed for judicial review attended the hearing with Yut Lan and the operators. The case was dismissed in July, with the judge indicating the clearance had struck a reasonable balance between addressing the societal demand for housing and the rights of those affected, and they should move before the eviction deadline.
These are the banners we used when we protested. We could only keep them as part of history now. We have to respect the decision of the court. Whatever it is, we have to face the reality. It fills me with regret looking at these photos.
Yodlan and the residents feel that it's difficult to fight for their resettlement further, having campaigned for years. She said that one of the court's considerations was the government had already suggested the remaining care homes provide extra places and to convert 2 other buildings to house the affected residents. That would not cause them an unacceptably harsh burden. These converted buildings do not come with lifts. The upper floors can't be used for elderly home operations. The 30-odd residents are all given a place on the ground floor, with some original activity spaces used for beds. The operators are struggling to make everyone as comfortable as they were at Dill's Corner Garden.
The most difficult part of moving is the people. This auntie has lived here for 2 decades. To restart her life is very difficult, and the difficulties are not understood by most.
Sai Ping has worked in elderly care for almost 3 decades. He started the care homes in Dill's Corner Garden in 1998. He said back then the area lacked such facilities and hoped the elderly who move in can feel like they're home.
The government recommended Dill's Corner Garden to us. We were very excited as we could help people and make a living at the same time. In the past 3 decades, we've consistently improved our services to meet government standards. We're like a family here.
This is what was known as an old folks' haven. However, 6 buildings, including this care home run by Sai Ping, have to be demolished this year, which spelt doom for his 25-year-old business. The remaining care homes will be cleared in the next 3 years. As Hong Kong ages, Sai Ping hopes the government can give elderly care services priority.
The northeast development affects housing supply and the environment, which is well intended. I just hope our sacrifices are worthwhile. And I hope government officials and the chief executive could show some concern for the elderly. We all grow old. The elderly just want a decent place to live.
After the break, when urban development takes the shine off the golden years. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pearl Magazine. In a remote corner of Hong Kong, a group of seniors is being forced to say goodbye. It's an emotional time for the residents of Dill's Corner Garden, as the homes they thought they'd spend the rest of their lives in must make way for urban development. While relocation promises some new comforts for the neighbors, there's no denying a deep sense of loss for this close-knit group.
This uncle is moving to Block 12. He's also moving to Block 12. He's going to Block 8.
Xiu So and Fong are both carers at Dill's Corner Garden. They've started packing in preparation of moving since mid-July. Once a British barracks, the government has leased the site to private care home operators on 2-year leases since the handover. In 2012, the government earmarked the area as part of the Northeast New Territories Development Project. After the dismissal of their judicial review, some of the homes are to be pulled down. As the third wave of COVID-19 hit Hong Kong in July, the relocated residents were still required to move to other homes. The Social Welfare Department explained it was to push forward the Kwu Tung North Development Project and asked the homes to follow Center for Health Protection guidelines to prevent COVID-19 infections. As the last group of residents leave, they'll be separated from the carers they know like family.
He didn't want to leave and said, "We are moving there and you are not." I told them I'm moving too. I don't have the heart to tell them, otherwise they won't cooperate. I want to stay too, but there's nothing I could do. I can't look after them in the new place.
Shuk Wai is the last one to move out. She has a lot to pack before moving to the other buildings that are not cleared yet.
The new place is not as spacious. I'm worried I have too much stuff for the room. I've lived here by myself for years, but we'll have to share a room with 2 others there. It's not a problem being a bit cramped. I'll just see it as training. I'll sleep when the others turn the lights off. I'll get used to it.
I warned her ages ago. I know she won't want to move, so the head of the home said she could move last. I'm very worried that they can't get used to the new place.
I like it. I hope I can get to sleep.
I hope they're in a better place, but I really didn't want to leave them. I'm going to tell the new carers their habits. That's all I can do.
So this is the boundary. What's over there is phase 2. When residents from the first clearance phase had to leave, us being the second phase, I was counting down my days here.
The 3 homes Mrs. Wan operates are in the second clearance phase, which will be demolished in 2023, alongside about a dozen other homes. By then, the 900-odd residents here will all move into a new complex funded by the government. The government will put out an open tender will be sent out, suitable for operators of the new site, and experience in running a care home at Dill's Corner Garden is one of the criteria.
The care homes here have always been operated by small and medium-sized operators. The cohesion among residents is facilitated by these bungalows, semi-open designs. The residents are really like family here.
In 2014, Mrs. Wan appeared before LegCo to speak on the clearance of Dill's Corner Garden. She said the then Secretary for Labour and Welfare, Matthew Jung, endorsed the development model of such a village and deemed it a successful case. 2 years ago, the Dill's Corner Garden care home operators asked a university to conduct a survey on the elderly residents' views on the mass relocation. Results showed the residents were concerned they'd struggle to get used to the new building, and many hoped to be looked after by the same carers.
Our hope is that the government can treat all of Dill's Corner Garden as a complete entity, so that the elderly residents, the staff, and the operators could rebuild this community in the new complex and continue with our mission.
At the end of July, after those affected by the first clearance phase moved out, the carers, including Siu So, who looked after Shuk Wai, are packing the final pieces. After their day's work ends, they'll be out of work, as they can't join the new care home.
They have their carers there. I'm very upset that I can't do this anymore, can't serve them anymore.
A lot of the time, the elderly would refrain from saying things that are too negative because they don't want their family or us to be worried. If the government had contacted us earlier, we could have let residents and their family know sooner so that they could better prepare for the move.
Dill's Corner Garden is a product of a tripartite collaboration. Government, business, and community, which created this truly unique elderly village.
If we can all move into a new complex in 2023, it'll mean even more to us and the history of this place.
That's our show for this week. Next week, does the label Made in Hong Kong mean the quality and value that local and global consumers expect? Thanks for your time. See you next week.